Good evening, everyone, and hope all you had a nice day. So, welcome back to lesson 4 today. So, day 4. So, just before start, just give a quick thumbs up if my voice is clear for you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, today we are going to start with Python. We are going to continue with the Python basics. Before that, I want to show you the model development life cycle, like machine learning development life cycle, like a whole, like higher overview. Before we continue with the basics of Python, let me quickly share my screen. And I've already shared today's collab links with you. You can simultaneously open it. Okay. So, like we always have this question, right? What exactly a data scientist do in a company? So I just put it in stepwise to just give you a higher overview, like how a machine learning model development life cycle looks like. So as in the step one, it's always the understanding the problem statement. We have to understand the problem clearly. We should like if we have no knowledge about that particular domain, for example, the problem can be of a fintech company or of a it can be a healthcare domain or pharma industry, or it can be like manufacturing, any kind of problem statement. So it depends on which company we are working in. So for example, it's a fintech company. Common use case would be identifying fraudulent transactions. If it's a credit card company, like identifying defaulters. If it's a healthcare domain, then the problem statement would be disease depending on different available data with us. So problem statement understanding would be always the first step of a data scientist. So if he has no knowledge, he has to sit with the domain expert and then understand the problem statement. So once he understand the problem statement, then the second step would be identifying the required data. For that exact problem, what would be the data required? So that would be the second step. Sometimes, like step one itself would take a lot of time to understanding the problem statement, like to get a clear picture. Then the step two always would be identifying the required data. So we'll continue with this example of fintech companies, where like financial companies, where you have to identify the fraudulent transactions. So uh, in fraud use case, maybe we require data of transaction details of the customers, or maybe type transaction, like whether that's a debit transaction or a credit transaction types. So only few like easy to understand details I have put in here. Maybe the login data details, like how many times he is logging in and logging off. Such data is required to identify a fraudulent transaction. Hello? Okay. So identifying logging data, and then maybe KYX details like user location data, age, and more details about from where he is doing the transaction and all. So identifying the data like required to identify fraudulent transaction would be the step two of a data scientist. And then the step three, data collection, from where he can fetch the data. Data can be present in databases like Oracle, Snowflake, Hive. So it can be in databases or can be in feature stores. For now, don't worry if you are not understanding few terms. It's okay. Just I'm giving you a higher overview. Just understand the steps. That's it. Like so, there are feature stores. Like Tecton is an example of a feature store. What is feature store? What would be there? Like we'll discuss in the coming classes. Like when we are talking about machine learning. Then, using Python or PySpark, we can connect to database and fetch the data using a programming language like SQL. So, on the same collab notebook, we can use even Python or PySpark. But yeah, we are learning Python here. So, we'll be using like you can use Python and connect to the database and fetch the data using SQL. And then the data would be raw data. So store this raw data in CSV, comma separated file format or Parquet. Nowadays, like in real time, this format is used a lot. Parquet format is used a lot. So once the data collection step is done, so sometimes depending on the company, still step three, there would be a separate team would be handling it. So there will be data engineers who will be doing the steps. So uh, yeah, and depends on the job description and where we are working. So and then so next step would be data preparation. So data cleaning. So the raw data would be having a lot of missing values, garbage values. Sometimes it's not organized. All the things like we have to do the data cleaning steps. So we'll be learning the data cleaning steps. Then the exploratory data analysis. So the analysis part we are going to do it. Then the feature engineering. What exactly is feature engineering? What is feature and all? We are going to study in this particular course. Then the feature selection. So the step four would data preparation. So we'll be like taking different data sets and we'll be doing all the steps in this particular course too. Then the model development. So choosing a machine learning algorithm, then like on the data, like when we give the definition of machine learning, we say that from the past data, model is trained and the trained model is used for the to predict the future data, right? So how to train a model? So when we say model, it's a mathematical model, and we are connecting with the model using Python programming language. So how to write that particular code, how to train a model from data, and once you train the model, how do you know like if it's a good model or a bad model, or how to test it, how to validate it, what are the hyperparameter tuning? These are the steps which are done in the real time also. These are the steps which are followed in real time to the model development. So doing a model cross-validation, model performance evaluation. So what are the steps? So we are going to learn all this, and then finally it would be the model deployment checklist. So again, most of the cases like data scientists would do till here, like the model development, and then he would hand over the model, which has like after doing all the steps, he would do the model deployment checklist and hand over the model to machine learning engineering team. There would be again another team which would take care from this step. The model which has been tested, they would hand over, and the machine learning engineering team would deploy it. And before that, model checklist, like deployment checklist, would be prepared by the data scientist, like the model art, like what a data scientist should hand over to machine learning engineering team. They would hand over the model artifacts. So whatever trained, so what are like we'll see like what are the model artifacts they'll be hand over data pre-processing wrapper in the sense like we are doing so many cleaning steps, right? When model is deployed, it would work on the new data. So there also we have to, the data would be raw, like we have to do all the, whatever process we have done here before training the model. So all that steps we have to give it like in a wrapper. So we'll discuss like how exactly we do all this. Feature encoded artifacts and then model inference code, like all this they hand over to the machine learning engineering team. So this is what a model development site says. This is what exactly a data scientist do in a particular company. So usually like understanding the problem statement, we would also do it because any data set you take in, you do the even the data cleaning steps, we understand the problem statement. We understand what exactly data is, what are the rows and columns talking about. So then this like identifying the required data can also be done. But this step of data collection, we won't be doing it here because data can be present in databases. Like uh, we uh, we are we are directly getting the CSV data. Like we are going to get the CSV format data files directly from Kaggle. So we will be directly taking the CSV format data, and then we proceed from the step four, step five, and step six. We are going to do it. So we are going to do a capstone project where we are going to follow all these steps. So that would be very useful for you. And I'll also show you like from where you can fetch the data sets and you can work like we are all of mixed crowd here. Like some of you are from fintech or maybe pharma or some other fields. So depending on whatever field you are interested in, we can take up the data set and we can work on it. So how many different like how much the experience of a data scientist is all matters. So for like if he keeps working on different projects, he get that expertise. So you can see that like data scientist, like all this work is called like a data scientist. So we know what a scientist is, right? Why is he called data scientist and why is he paying high? Because every day it's a challenge. So there is no blueprint provided for a data scientist. It's a lot of iterative work. So every data scientist gain a lot of knowledge by their own experience. So yeah. So and just a second. Okay. So yeah. So data scientist. Uh, their jobs, right? That's the reason they are paid high also because the coding part, you look at it, is like 5 to 6 lines of code or 10 lines of code. It keeps on repeating. So most of the part of coding, like once you get habituated, it's similar. But how he interprets a model, how he interprets if it's a good model or bad model, completely it's logical skills. So is it like a data scientist is almost like a researcher doing his job. So that's the reason he's paid high also. So yeah, so we are going to learn all this and we are going to do the capstone projects too, so that you get a hands-on experience, not just the theoretical. So let's go for today's lesson. So to reach that level, we have to start from very basics of like learning Python programming language. And yeah, it's kind of very interesting also to know like how really a machine becomes intelligent, how we are training a machine to think like humans, and we are already experiencing it. It's not a futuristic topic. We are already experiencing how machines are outperforming humans, how they are faster, how they are reasoning way better than us. So it's interesting to know and learn the process, how we are training a model also. So yeah, let me quickly share my screen. I've already shared the collab. So from here, we'll continue with uh, today's lesson where we are going to learn some basics like print, input function, what is data type conversion, incrementing a value, and loops. So so how can I see lesson one? So in actually I've shared the lesson one yesterday. I'll share at the end of the today's class again. But in like after we make a closed group, I'll be sharing the collab links in the WhatsApp group every day too, so that like someone who's not able to attend the class also get the links. And also I'll make a Word document where everyday lesson links would be updated into it. So like like after completing 60, 70 lessons, you don't have to search the WhatsApp group. So the the Word document link would have all the collab lesson plans, lesson wise. So it would be easier to search for the lessons too. So it would be very organized. So for now, I'm not sharing links. I just shared lesson two in the group. I'll share lesson one also. So okay. So you can all also open the collab link from your end. And the first step would be go to the file, click on save a copy and drive. So once you make a copy, then yeah. So the print function. So I think yesterday we were directly typing something like this, 4 plus 2. I've just run it. I said like it's addition in Python. And whenever we are typing some strings, so we have to include that in quotations. And we also discuss the data types. So if I have 0.3, what is the data type of 8.3? If you are learning it for the first time, if you make mistakes also, it's okay. You can still answer like whatever you feel like. It, Boolean, no, 8.3, it's a float. So, what are the four primitive data types we have seen yesterday? What are the four types of data types? One is integer, string, float, correct, correct, Rakesh. So, there are primitive four data types. So, this is float. We have this string. So, whenever I write anything with a hash before it, it's comment. It's a float. And true and false, P capital and F capital. So. It's Boolean. So yeah. And if you want to print something, we need a print function. So there are a lot of ready-made functions available with Python. So print is a function. Each function has its own task. So print function's task is to print a message. And we don't have like what is the backend code of the print. We can directly use the print function. How to use a print function is write print and whatever you write inside it. If you are printing 12, so if it's the integer, no need of quotations. So if you're printing false, it's a Boolean, no need of quotations. But if I'm printing a string, I need quotations. So now you can also try from your end printing this message, hello Earth. So try printing hello Earth. So you can just write print and then type in hello Earth and run it. So this is how a simple print statement works. So yesterday we have already learned like how to create few variables, right? Let me create few variables like a equal to 9, b equal to 10, c equal to 5. So if I just run it, so that means I just created three variables. So, okay, we are going to talk about indentation in today's lesson. But for now, understand that indentation means extra spacing in Python. What is the importance of it? We are going to learn it. But you see the A here, I just gave some extra space, which that's the reason we got the error here. I'm removing the space and running it. So spacing is very important in Python. We are going to see about it in just in 10 minutes. So I just created variables. So here variables are nothing but like if I ask you what is a variable? What is a variable? So variable, yeah, correct, Abhishek. Variable is like a container where you can store a value inside it. So I've just created three variables and stored values inside it. These are not text or these are not strings. So these are variables. So I'm going to print these variables. When I'm printing variables, I don't have to give the quotations. I'll just print ABC. It will be 9 times 5. So if I give quotations, they are not variables anymore. They become strings for ABC. So you see the difference here. Right? So if you create variables, if you are printing, no need of quotation. That's the rule. We call it flexible, right? So this is the basic print function. Likewise, slowly we'll through other functions as in where it required. So the print function is one of the most commonly used functions in Python. It allows you to display text and variables on the screen. You can print multiple entities using print function by separating them with comma. That's what I've done, right? I just printed multiple entities just by separating by the comma. So the text whichever like we write after hash is not a code, they become comments. And the syntax, like whatever rules we are talking about, is nothing but it's like grammar of the programming language. It is a standard protocol that must be followed while writing code. And we can escape characters in Python by using backslash. That means there's one problem here. If I'm printing string like this, I want to write Nagpur's. Uh, Let me print it with, like I can print text with both single quotation and double quotation. Right? Sorry. So, okay. So I can print it with single quotations too. So both would work for the print statement. Anyways, like both double and single quotations, both are strings. But if I want to print something like this, now it's orange, and I'm closing the brackets. So if you can see it, like right away, you can see there's an error coming out. If I run, it, you see like unterminated string literal, we got the error here, right? So when I say dark blue orange like this, so this is the start of the quotation. This is taken as the end of the quotation. Now we got the error saying like, there is one more unexpected quotation here, and it's expecting one more quotation here. So this situation arises when you have special characters in between, right? So you can escape characters in Python using backslash. That means you can give this backslash symbol here and escape the character. So if you just use this character here, so I'll put here, mm, so backslash character. So it would escape the special characters. Now you can see like narcos orange. The problem is solved. So whenever you have to keep this in mind, like whenever you're combining these quotations in whichever way, it would create problem. One more solution is that the same thing. If I just write print narco, it would work. Like you have starting with double quotations, in between you have single quotation. But it's better to go with this notation because to if you have a bigger sentences to print something like we cannot keep checking like this. So whenever you have special characters, if you want to escape those characters, use the backslash symbol. So it's above the written enter button on your keypad. So use this when you're printing so that it doesn't give us the errors. So this is one point about the print statement. Then, yeah. So if you are printing multiple words, you just separate them with comma. So that's one more thing about print statement. There are parameters which you can send into the print statement. So right away, it's not. It depends like whatever you're like in future, like when you're printing something and you want to separate them with a special character. For suppose you're printing hello, how are you? By default, it's always printed with this space. If you don't give any extra parameters inside the print statement, by default, it would always print with the space. But if you want to separate it with a special characters, then you can write sub as parameter passed inside print and give any symbol you want. Then the output would be like this, hello, I'm how. So if I just want to separate it with filler word like whatever I write it, it would separate like it would fill in instead of space with that particular separator keyword which we are presenting here. So if I just give at the rate, it would have been hello at the rate, how are you? So this is one parameter you can pass inside the print statement. So you can even give the separator as hyphen here. So this is one thing about separator parameter. And there is something called new line character. So yeah, again, like we are going into details like sub keyword, then new line character. Don't try to memorize. With practice, like slowly when we start coding, we'll get used to all this. So just like puzzles, run it from your end, but don't memorize anything. So the new line character is nothing but this slash n. So slash n is the new line character. So whenever you have this new line character inside statement, print statement would print the next coming text in the next line. So I have something like C docs Nagesh. So this is like I didn't intended with this new line character. If I just run it, you'll see the output. You can see that C dots, and since it was slash n, whenever sees like print statement sees slash n, whatever text is coming next, it would print it in the next line. So we just got it like in one line. So this was taken as the new line character for the print statement, and AGESH is in the next line. So again, to escape any character, this is the solution. The escape button before it is the solution. Only then it would print whatever you want like this. So this is about the new line character of the print statement and then end keyword. If you have multiple print statements like this and you want to run it, by default it would be like, we don't see it like, but by default it would be new line character. So new line character uh, like if you have multiple print statements, it would print one after other. But if you want to control that, like if you want to control how you want to end one print statement with other, you can give this end parameter. So I want to end all of that with hello with asterisk and then how asterisk. So this is one more parameter, and you can combine both separator and end, and you can even try printing. Like this would be Python is awesome separator and end at the rate. So you can before just running it, you can put it in the chat. What would be the output for this? Using we have a separator keyword, we have a end keyword, we have two print statements. So if I use this, you can just type it in the chat. What would be the output now? You can refer to this end keywords text and separated keywords text. Just before running it from your end, try to just answer it logically and put it in the chat. Like, what would be the output for this? Print Python is awesome. There is a separated keyword and you have a end keyword. Then you have Python is easy. Okay, Python is awesome. At the rate Python is easy. So this is your so let me run it. Correct. So Python, like we have separated each word with hyphen, like underscore, and we are ending with the second sentence with at the rate. So yeah, so it would be space. Yeah. So this is about print function. So just in one line, if you have to know about print statement, whatever you write inside the print statement, it would be print in the end. That's it. So you have some special features like separated keyword, like new line character, and we have just explored. So any questions about print function in using in Python? Are you able to do this? Okay, great. So next we'll explore one new function called input function. So if this is also a ready-made function. So the input function is already created by the Python author. We are going to explore the what input function does. The question from author, yes, why the at the rate combines? So at the rate is actually not combining, it's just joining. Like when you use the send parameter, it would just combine two print statements with at the rate. If you're printing this without at the rate, it would be by default in the next line. The output would be something like this. You have Python is awesome in one line, you have Python is easy in one line. If you have many print statements, this end parameter would control like, how you want to join the print statements together. That's it. Yeah, we just wanted like you to end this two print statements with at the rate. So by default, if you don't have this meter also, it would look something like this. This is normally a print statement. Like we are like mostly we use this, but yeah, this is available separated and end. Mostly like throughout the course, maybe once or twice somewhere you're going to see it again. But yeah, this exists. But if you're seeing it somewhere, you can understand that these are the parameters which would do this operation. But usually, like we kind of write it you simply just the statement which we want to print it. We don't complicate it. So when we talk about strings concept, then we have a concept of formatting. So formatting concept we are going to use it, but usually separator and keyword we don't use it much, but it exists. So that's the reason we just put in here. So input function. So input function, it takes input from the user in Python, and you can use another function like uh, to take input from the user in Python, like you can use this ready-made function input. So if you are entering into your Gmail account, so you get this boxes to enter it, enter the Gmail ID, enter the password. So whatever you enter, then it will take the input from the input section. So how to use this input function is, so first of all, I want to print age, age equal to, so I write input So I'm taking input and storing it in a variable called age. So when I write something like this, age equals input function. So I'm taking input to a function and then storing it in the variable age. And I want to print age. So just with this collab, if you're printing something only one variable without print function also it would display. If you have multiple variables to be printed, then I have to write print for sure. So let me write print for now. So if I run it, you see the box here, right? Then I enter any number, then it would print whatever I have entered. Like you can see, like it just printed whatever I've entered here. So I can even uh, give a text message like inside the input function saying like, please enter your age. So then it would give you the text message, please enter your age. Then I can enter 25. So it would print age 25. So likewise, using the input function, what are the other operations I can do here is, let me take number one equal to use an input function. I would say, please enter a number. I'm asking again, num to, like, this number one, number two is for variable names. Using input function, again, and say, like, please enter. This is a display message. Whatever I want to uh, put it in the display here, I can just write it here. So then I want to just add them print function like sum of, I'm combining the text and the variable names. So this is the variable here, right? Sum of number one, comma, sum of number two. Inside the print statement itself, I just want to add number one plus number two. So I'll run it like, after running it, I'll explain it again. What I'm doing is I'm actually taking the input for number one, and then I'm taking the input for number two. Inside the print statement, I want to print like sum of number one and sum of number two is, and I want to just print the sum accordingly. So what I'm doing here is, if I run it, till here it would work. You'll see like error is going to happen here. So we'll understand the error. Like first enter the number. There's no error. I can give any number. I just gave number 10 for next step. So Python always executes line by line. Line one, no error, it did execute. Line two, no error, it did execute. I'm just giving 20 here. Now what I expect is once I press enter, it would print sum of 10, sum of 10 and sum of, so I just make it like and. So sum of number one and number two. So if I run it, you just got an error. Just a second. So if you just look at this, so we didn't got error, but yeah. So sum of number 10 and number 2 is 1020. Not expecting this. I was expecting output 30, but I just got 1020. So can you explain like what do you think is happening? Why we got this 1020? Because yesterday we spoke about this concatenation repetition, right? Since input returns string value. Correct, Abhishek? Input function always takes input in the form of string. This is the note we have it here. So whenever you give input for this function, input function always take input in the form of string. So whenever we saw yesterday, like string values, if you use concatenation, like when you use this addition operator, it would be concatenated. So 10 here is not a numerical number. It would have taken as a string like this. So computer doesn't know like, alphabets are separate, numbers are separate. Whatever you write it inside quotations, they are string. So if you are doing this, so it's 1020. If I would have done integer, then I would have got 10 plus 20, 30. So with the same example, if for the second one, if I would have given some text, and we also saw this, right? Yesterday, if you have 10, and if you are adding with string, it would, okay. So now if I want to do this addition, like I run it, 10, if I do and it would be concatenating 10 and. So if you want to do the numerical operation here, I want to do a data type conversion. So I have to do the data type conversion here using the data, like as the name suggests, data type conversion is like we are converting from one data type to another here. So this uh, there are a lot of functions, but this input function, one of the interviews this kind of questions might be asked also sometimes, like the input function. Do you remember input functions? If you say like, yeah, I used input function, so then input functions takes always the input in the forms of string. So this point would be asked. So yeah, input function. Since input function is taking the input in the form of string, we have to convert it into integer if you want to do some math over it. So how can we convert? Like we can convert one data type to another. So if you have a string and you convert that to integer, but again, like if you have, hey, if you are converting this to integer using this function in, it would say error. If you're converting 5, it would work. So we cannot do like we also know like hey cannot be converted to a number. So but still like if you have 5 is a string, and if you want to convert to an integer, it would work. So if you we cannot convert text to integers, so we cannot do such things with this data type conversion functions here. So you can check the data type of a value using type function. To check data type, we can use this type function. It would give us what is the data type of it. So if I use type on, so I've done this num2 before. We just created num2 before. Now you can see it's showing string here, right? Because the input function will always take input in the form of. So I've entered numbers, but you can see like the type of this num1 variable and num2 variable which we created are strings here. These are not integers. So now I want to convert this num1, num2 to integer. I can use int function. So I can directly convert this. I can directly convert it here also. After taking the input, I can convert this here and run it. Now I can enter 10 and 20. You would see the output is now 30. It's concatenation like before. But the thing here is when you do the conversion like this, the problem here is if someone is using it in a general way and if they are giving if they are giving hey, since you are converting here itself, hey cannot be converted to integer. You will be you will be thrown error here. So other best way to convert that to an integer is not here, but here. Whenever you, if you are, yeah. So we have to take care of like you have maybe if you are using it in a real time scenario, you have to write some logical more 2 3 lines of code where we make sure like such things doesn't happen. So you can even convert that feature here. It okay. Okay. We have to convert here. In the graphics, it would work. So, but we call it like data type conversion. When you are converting one data type to another, we call it data type conversion. So we can use str function to convert a particular value to a string. Float, if you want to convert to floating point, then it's float. So if you just do float of 10, it would just give you decimal point like this. So you can see the output 10.0. If you check, if you have a value 8, right? So let's say p 10, you do type of p, it's an integer. And if you do a data type conversion like p equal to, so now if you just check the type of t, it would be a floating point. Okay. Okay. If I just convert it here, it won't work. I have to put it here. So if I just convert the variable name, it did, let me take, yeah, so it did. If you convert to a float, so now you can check a data type after conversion using the type function here. So these are some basics, like usually using the Boolean function conversion, we rarely use this, but like converting to a string and converting to a integer, we kind of use it sometimes. So we call it data type conversion, and you call it like typecasting also. So if somewhere it's typecasting written, always remember to convert the input to the required data type if you need to perform automatic operation. So this is about this input function. If you want to do some mathematical operation, we have to convert that to integer. And data type conversion is also called as typecasting. So any questions here about input function? How input function is taking input and printing the output? Do you want me to do more examples? If you are okay, then try this example from your end. Create a program that asks for the user's birth year and calculates their age using the input function. The hint is that you have to use this input function. So, like if you enter the birth year, it should calculate the age. So think of a logic how to calculate the age, simple logic, and try to create this program and just put it in the chat also. Take a minute, try this. Hint is use input function. So if someone's entered 2000, the final output should be 25 then. Okay, fast. Okay, Abhishek, fast. So good. Birth year equal to, let me just copy yours and put it. So birth equal to input, please provide your birth year. Print your age is 2025 minus int of birth year. So if birth year is 2000, if you run it, your age is 25. Correct. So this is how you can create few programs using input function. So then if you are done till here, if you have no questions, then we'll see how to go with incrementing a value. So incrementing in a value in the sense you create a variable, you store a value inside it, and then you want to increment it. How do we increment it in Python? We are going to write a program here. It's very simple. Like, for suppose you create a variable, say again z equal to 1, and you want to increase this value. When I say z equal to 1, it's like the container is there. We named it z and we saved 1 inside it. And if I want to change this 1 to 2, then I just want to add 1 plus 1. So how can I do it? Here is you can increment it. I can write z equal to z plus 1. And if I run this, it would be 2. So what I've done is, so first I created z, I stored 1 inside it. Once I write z equal to z plus 1, so the actual z value was 1 before. So you're doing 1 plus 1. And you are reassigning it to the same variable named z here. So the value of z has become 2 here. So if I do a equal to 4, and I say right a equal to a plus 6, so it's like a value will become 10 here. So if I the same thing, um, yeah, I can do the subtraction also. So simple increment statement would look like this. You just add a particular value to it and you reassign it to the same variable. If you are incrementing the same value, same variable, so you just increment it and assign it to the same variable. So we call it like a simple increment statement, increment value. So we'll use it later on. So for now, we are just simply using a, like we are simply seeing the increment statement, how to increment it. So, but here is one thing with Python, like if you have an increment statement, like I have q equal to, again, let's take it simple, 1. And then I just wrote q equal to 1 in one code cell. Now I'm writing q equal q plus 1. And I'm running this 4 times. I'm putting it comment here and running this code cell 4 times. One, second time, third time, and fourth time. Now I want to print this Q. What do you think would be the output? Will it be 1? Will it be 2? Will it be 5? Gyanendra, okay, 2 is your answer. Okay. Any other answers? I've run this cell for 4 times. So what I've done is I created a cell variable called q and stored 1 inside it. And then I'm saying like q equal to q plus 1. So when I say q plus 1, the first time q was 1. So 1 plus 1, q got updated to 2. And running it again, q plus 1 cell. The second time I'm running it, the q value was not 1 before, like we just updated it to 2. So it would be 2 plus 1. So the new value will be 3 now. So when I'm running it one more time, it would be 3 plus 1. So we just updated it again. So it would become 4. And the fifth time I run it, it becomes 5. So if I'm running it here, you see the value is 5. So what's the difference between this and this here is, so here I created equal to one variable and kept it aside, and I'm running this cell 4 times. So that means like first time, initially I created a variable, kept it aside. I'm not rerunning this code cell. I'm running this code cell 4 times. So q plus 1, q got updated to 2 value. And the same q got updated to 3, 4, 5. So that's the reason you see 5 here. Go when I have used this, whenever I'm rerunning it, all of this are in the same code cell. Z equal to 1, Z equal to Z plus 1. Each time I'm running it, it's creating a variable Z with value 1, one sided, and I'm adding 1 plus 1. It's always 2. So each time I run this, it's always 2, how many ever times I run it. So here, if I run q equal to 1, q equal to q plus 1, and then q equal to 2. But if I rerun this, it would be 3. Rerun this, it would be 4. But if I run this again, it would change q value to 1 and run it, it will become 1. So make sure how you are writing the code. If you are writing everything in one code cell, when you are running it would start like line by line. It would create again z equal to 1 and z value will be 0. If you have a habit, like, when you're texting in WhatsApp also, there are few people who will text word by word, like one word in one, like, hey, how are you? Some people will text in one simple text. Some people will be like, hey, then how are you in one word. So if you have a habit of that, and in the coding also, if you are executing the same pattern of writing q equal to 1 in one code cell, the next line in the second code cell, these things happen. So make sure you observe these things. So if you run it again and run it, it would be 2. But maybe by mistake you have run it like 2, 3 times. And then you run it like you just get a different value. So the writing them in different code cells and executing them like this and writing something like this is different. So just take few examples and get a feel of it. I know, like, for the first time doing all this might feel like a little lot of things, but it's not. Like, it's take them like puzzles, and we are trying to understand a foreign language. So we are trying to learn a programming language. It's, if you are learning it for the first time, it's like learning a foreign language. You have completely new terminology. You have a different grammar there, and there's a different way each person talks. So there are a lot of things we have to get used to learning. So we are in that phase of understanding Python from very basic level. So so, and again, combination with Python, we are understanding how this environment works also. So these are the things. And then if I want to print hello everyone five times. So how do you print hello everyone 5 times? Or if you want to print, you have to get hello everyone 5 times in the output. Print hello everyone. Okay. So you want to multiply the text. Okay. Interesting. Good. So you can do that, or you can just write hello everyone in each print statement. You can repeat it 5 times. So if you want numbers from 1 to 100, then if you want to print numbers from 1 to 100, any other shortcut like this? If it's 4 or 5 numbers, I can easily print it. But if I want to print 100 numbers, it doesn't make sense. I have to write print statement 100 times, right? So in Python, there is a concept called loops. So if you want to repeat a block of code, we use the concept of loops. And the concept of loops is there with C programming language. You have the concept with any other programming language. How to use loops with Python, we are going to learn tomorrow. So today we'll stop it here. Just go through whatever we have done in today's lesson. It's about, like, we started with basic print statement, and then we just added separated and end keyword for the print statement. Then we discussed how input function works and the note point of input, that always input takes input in the form of a string. Then if you want to, if you have a particular data type, you can convert that to a different data type using data type conversion methods using these functions, str, float, and bool. But make sure, like, you're not converting k to integer because it would throw. So simple data type conversion and having a increment value like this, and making sure, like, if you're writing something like this and running, and it would have this. So these are the concepts which we have covered today. So tomorrow we'll cover loops. So understanding loops is important because these are the core concepts of any programming language. You learn loops in Python, then maybe the syntax rules changes with other programming language, but the concept is same. Loops concept, conditional statements. So tomorrow we'll cover this important core concepts like loops, conditional statements, what are infinite while loops, what is break keyword. These are the things which we'll be seeing tomorrow. Soon we'll cover after that the functions. Like, we have seen ready-made function, but if you want to create our own user-defined functions, how to create it. We'll cover all those. So if you have questions, you can start. If not, yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. So, and yeah, and Rakesh, you have asked me the collab link of yesterday, right? Let me share it to you. And the pace I'm teaching, is that okay, or you want me to go a little slower, or is it okay? This phase of teaching is okay for you. You can just put it in the chat also.
They removed me from the chat and I can't see the collab.
You cannot see the collab.
Yeah, they have removed. I'm not a member of the chat, and I think if you're going to post lesson one, I am not going to be able to see that link. I don't know.
Okay. So your good name, please. I don't feel like you have unmuted the session and speaking also. I'm checking for you. Like you are
Rakesh.
Rakesh, okay? Okay, I can see you, but okay. You're talking with me, but I see like still your session to be muted. So okay, I'm not sure, but I'm sending this link in the WhatsApp. Maybe you can get the link from the WhatsApp group, right?
Yes.
So I've already sent. Uh, okay, so you are in the group where I've already sent today's lesson. I posted a link. Let's just check for lesson one.
I've still not added. I'm not. I don't think I have a separate session for that. I think it's DNM 25. I think no. I'll reach out to the coordinators and take it from them.
Okay. And you can personally text me, hi, then I'll send you the both the links.
Okay.
You'll be getting my number from description of the chat, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So if you have no questions, see you tomorrow. If you have any more questions, you can do ask. Okay. Bye bye, Naninja. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye bye.